Hello, I'm Chris Williams, and I'm here with a review of Age of X-Men X-tremists issue 4. We'll start off with the cover like usual. The cover is drawn competently well. It's still in that ultra-realistic style. The artist named Raza, and that's still her name, unbelievably, trying to sound all cool. Well, Raza's art is very well made, but it still has at times, I think the skin colors look a bit off, and unless it contrasts with the more realistic portions of the outfits they're wearing, so it gives this otherworldly quality to it. All of it together, I mean, the colors just seem off. Here we can see scenes of North Star's life being clawed out of his head. His gay boyfriend and all that stuff. This issue predominantly deals with North Star's relationship with the man he was married to before he ended up having his mind wiped. Here we come to no big surprise. The first page is Marvel once again insisting giving us a first page which is just who wrote this comic book and who penciled it. The writer Leah Williams and the penciler Georges Gentry. I have a few things to say about these creators as this issue goes on. Here we opened with North Star looking at, the Blob and Psylocke, and he suspects something. Oh, well, I can imagine why. They're basically looking like they're a couple, and everyone else says they're not a couple, even though it looks like they're a couple. Even though they shouldn't be a couple at all, because he's a villain and she's a hero. And if he had his memories back, he'd probably do something bad to her. Because that's how he's been portrayed in most of his appearances. Here we can see him having his hand held by Psylocke, while they both gaze lovingly into each other's eyes. Well, I guess North Star is completely paranoid about this, because they're not in love at all, are they? And I have to tell you, once again, I have to say that this relationship won't last beyond this series. Marvel is lately giving us a bunch of relationships that are either so PC or NPC that you know they're just trying to push an agenda, or the writer is just throwing stuff out with relationships suddenly, hoping that something will hit the wall. Here we can see the Blob pushing Monita out of the room after he handcuffed her. She's going to have her mind wiped, and she'll be placed in a new position on the team. Or rather, she'll keep her old position, but she'll think she just started there. Here we see Bobby Drake, the Iceman, trying to, what's the word I'm looking for? Kiss up to North Star. Yeah, I know they're both homosexuals. Oh, well, here I guess they're not homosexuals. They're more like non-sexual beings, or at least that's what this world is supposed to be. No person is supposed to be in any kind of relationship with anyone anymore. And here, North Star flies off because he's had enough, and he suspects that Blob and Psylocke are basically in a prohibited relationship, or at least are harboring feelings for each other. And this upsets him, so he flies off. He's been dealing with a loss he cannot explain. He knows something is off. So he has these things where he'd like to go as fast as he could possibly go, even if it would kill him. And that's basically what he's just done, was basically a dream, because he wakes up and he still has that nagging feeling. If it would be worth it to just go out in his flight and see, no matter how, even if it would kill him, to go as fast as possible, because he pretty much feels he's missing something in his life. We'll get more into that later on in this review. The artwork here by Georges Gentry is good. It's not great. All we can do is keep watching as North Star just continues to go through his daily routine, and he checks back in at the X-tremists office. And here we have him running into Monita. Only guess what? as he calls out, "Monita, you're here." I think he pretty much expected Monita to be placed somewhere else. Instead, they mind-wiped her, so she thinks it's her first day. Unfortunately, the mind wipe seems to have temporarily robbed her of her English language skills. Here we can see the artwork here by Georges, Gentry, is bad. I mean, Monita is drawn competently well, but she looks like a drone. I know it's supposed to come off like that, but yeah, in the second panel, it's with not enough detail. You think it could just be drawn better. Here we see Monita suspecting something has gone on, so she uses her own memory manipulation powers to manipulate her own mind. And guess what? That mind wipe? Well, it completely useless against someone who can actually control their own memories. So she uses her power using her elongated fingers to probe her own memory. We'll get more into that in a few minutes, and we'll see something really funny when we do. Here we have North Star, who's gone off to a theater that's being run by Richter. Apparently his theater has people, is pretty much open only for people who have harbor feelings for each other. And as North Star and him pass two people who are making out, they said, "Cut it out." North Star's there to tell Richter that he needs to take him in, and that any kind of relationship they had is over because it's pretty much a danger to him. Bobby Drake shows up shortly afterward, and all three of them end up drinking beers and basically coming to terms with things. It's not really good. It's just, this is something you'd see in any Friday night sitcom show. I mean, I don't think it's really humorous and all that stuff, but it's kind of just boring dialogue that goes on for page after page. Here we see Monita basically remembering that there's still an underground somewhere. She follows one of her leads, and we come across Apocalypse. Well, I think it's Apocalypse, but this looks nothing like the Apocalypse that's supposed to be part of Age of X-Men. The guy doesn't look like Apocalypse. He looks like some guy spray painted himself white and gave himself a double mohawk haircut. Here she is listening to him talk to his students, or at least proteges, as they watch videos about people who have been living their lives but can no longer remember it. They're watching a video of North Star, who used to be in the Olympics. See, his powers are basically super speed and flight, so he used to be an Olympic level athlete, and it was fine for him to do that because his powers had nothing to do with his own sport. And she ends up making a ruckus, and they end up bringing her down. We'll see more of this later in probably some other issue. Here we can see Bobby Drake looking down to the ground. Apparently, Jubilee has a baseball bat, and she's blowing stuff up with her powers. Because guess what? Apparently, she's the only one who suddenly regained her powers. Unlike any other character we've been actually following in this series, she remembers that she used to have a baby, and she knows that he's no longer around her. So she's gone crazy, and she's going to cause a riot until she gets her baby back. She tells North Star that he used to be married, and he suddenly remembers that he had a husband, and she says that she will continue to cause trouble until she gets sent back home where she can be with her son. Well, this is all good and all that, but I have to ask you one more thing. What happened to Nozumi, the woman they're holding down in their basement of their office? Apparently, this is the second issue. We have no word on what has happened to her. And we isn't in this issue with North Star saying, that they're all going to start a riot, and Bobby Drake and Richter decide to get in on the action, even though they have no real reason to do so. And Bobby, from every other appearance in the Age of X-Men, is a loyal soldier in X-Man's army. This has been bad. This comic is all over the place. The dialogue is just one long speech bubble after one long speech bubble. All I can say is this issue seems a bit better, maybe because the dialogue in this had to do with people losing stuff. And the only real dynamic and interesting thing happening was with Jubilee suddenly out of nowhere going crazy. Even though every other appearance in this series, she's played the little good soldier, just like Bobby. So why is she rebelling now? She just suddenly remembered it? I would almost say this feels like a setup. And that she's going to betray them or something, because this just comes out of nowhere. Even though North Star and Blob have more, and as well as Psylocke have more to worry about, because of, well, with North Star basically being suspicious of Blob and Psylocke in their relationship. So this happens with Jubilee. Why? Why not just stick with Psylocke and Blob and basically have them go against the other extremists? I guess they're trying to finish off this series quickly. And with the lowest common denominator? Yeah, I guess that would do it. So they're just going for shock value and trying to get this series to end on as fast a note as possible. I bet they're going to make a few references in the next issue between Blob and Psylocke, and then this series will end. And then when Age of X-Men is over, this relationship will be never talked about again, and Blob will go back to being a villain who might occasionally end up stalking Psylocke because of this incident. Thank you, Marvel. I needed that so much. Well, I'll tell you this much. If you like this review, subscribe. Make sure you're still subscribed. If you're watching my videos but you're not subscribed, please subscribe to me. I want you to hit that bell and get notifications for every one of my future videos. And hit that like button and leave some comments down below. And keep watching in my future videos for more information on my own independent comic book, Scumdogs. It'll be far better than this trash. I promise you that much. Well, it'll be far more entertaining. I gotta tell you that much. You'll at least get some more interaction than we had in this issue. Or at the very least, you can watch a bunch of characters beat each other up. And I'm Chris Williams, and I'll see you all again tomorrow with another review.